Hello. Hi everyone. Hi everyone, welcome to a new live stream. How's it going? I hope everything is great. I'm streaming on a Sunday. Oh man, yeah, I just wanted to stream a lesson today because I got a chance to do so. So yeah, here we are. Hello, Alex Matthias. Hola from UK. Welcome, Alex. Hello to you. Hola hasta el Reino Unido. Saludos, muchos saludos. ¿Cómo estás? Espero que estés muy bien. Okay, guys, welcome to this live stream. Today we're going to learn 5 common meanings of the verb pasar. Pasar is another common Spanish verb, and we're going to talk about the verb itself, how to use it, and also some other meanings of this verb when using other words with it. So it's going to be very interesting. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and also click on the bell icon so you can get notified every time I live stream. That's very important. If you don't want to miss out any of my streams, just you have to click on that bell notification icon thingy on YouTube next to the subscribe button and activate all the notifications so YouTube lets you know every time I live stream. I want to give a big shout out to our Cafecito members: Teresa Pocket, Robert Green, Tom Siebold, Ralph Marquez, Brianna L., Ruby Brockenberry, Christopher Michael, William Lopez, Gregory Ramirez, Michael Lee, and David Beaver. Thank you guys for the support. El cafecito está delicioso. In fact, I'm actually drinking some coffee right now. I drink my coffee around this time. So thank you so much for the cafecito. El cafecito está delicioso. If you want to become a member, you can do so by clicking on the join button down below. If you click on that button, you're just going to read about the information. You're going to see the information about the membership. So don't worry about clicking and joining right away. So first you will see all that information about the membership, the perks, and more. So if you can, please take a look. That supports the channel greatly. Excellent. Remember that I'm live streaming, so you can use the live chat to ask questions about what we're learning, just to say hola. That's also great. And if you want to use the live chat, you need to be a subscriber. So that's for free. Just click on that subscribe button. I see already some people. Yasser, hola desde Egipto. Hello, Yasmin. Welcome. Wow. Hola desde Egipto. Wow, that's great. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. LL. Okay, well, that is not allowed. Hang on. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, this stream is about Spanish, guys. About Spanish. So, anyways, let's move on. Yes. One sec. Thank you again, Cafecito members. Thank you so much for the support. Okay, now let's start with the lesson. 5 common meanings. Pasar can mean quite a few things. The main meaning of pasar is to pass. So it's very easy to remember the meaning pasar, to pass, okay? Pass as in, pass me something that I need, right? Or even people, if they, the person is, like crossing in front of you, you can also use pasar for that. So it's literally just the action of motion from one point to another, but you're like kind of see the object or also a person, or it could be because it can be used, this verb, if you need something and you're asking for that. Pass me the ketchup, pass me the pepper, pass me salt, pass the salt, or pass me anything, okay? So let's talk about the first meaning of the verb pasar, the most common one that I just talked about a few seconds ago. Okay, so hang on a second. I have to fix this. There you go. Okay, pasar. Pasar means to pass or to happen. Also, that's an important meaning of pasar. Besides, the meaning to pass, literally, also the meaning of to happen, when something happens. You probably have heard this common phrase in Spanish, ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? Or ¿qué pasó? Okay, so pasó or pasa comes from the verb pasar. Pasa also means racing in Spanish, so without the letter R, just like that means racing. Okay, plural, pasas, racings. Okay, but we're not talking about racings here. We're talking about the verb pasar, to pass, to happen. Okay, now let's look at some examples using this important verb. Okay. Pásame la sal, por favor. Pásame la sal, por favor. So this means pass me the salt, please. Okay? So pásame is a command that means pass me. Okay? So you have, even though it's a command, it's not like, it's not in polite. It's quite polite if you say por favor. You need to say por favor. If you use a command, pass me this, walk faster, or do this or do that in Spanish, if you add, just as in English, if you say please or por favor, it makes it a bit better. Okay. You make it polite. You're polite if you say por favor. So remember that. Pásame. Remember the accent mark on top of the letter A. Pásame means pass me. Okay? Pass me. Oops, sorry. There you go. Pass me. We have the verb at the beginning, pasa, and then we have me. That's a pronoun and it means me. Okay, pasa me, pass me. Okay, just remember that this is just one word, pásame. Okay, la sal, the salt. Okay, la sal. So this is very easy to remember because it sounds pretty much the same as in English. Sounds kind of the same. Yeah, you just remove the letter T and there you have it. Sal, la sal. Also, well, remember la is a definite article and it's feminine as well. So sal is feminine, la sal, the salt. Okay. Por favor, that's a common phrase. You know it already. That means please. Pásame la sal, por favor. So this is one way of using this verb pasar, pasar. Of course, let me see really quickly. I believe the conjugation of this verb is not that complicated. Okay, it's a regular verb, so it doesn't have any peculiar conjugation. You just have to follow the grammatical rules and you will be able to translate. I was going to say translate. I'm sorry, conjugate this verb really easy. Okay, the next example is, oops, what's happening? That was the eraser, sorry. The next example is, ¿qué pasó ayer? ¿Qué pasó ayer? ¿Qué pasó? Do you remember this? I already talked about it briefly. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasa? In this situation, we're specific. We're talking about something that already happened. So the meaning of this question is, what happened yesterday? What happened? Tell me everything about it. So, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Remember, you need the accent mark. Every time you conjugate a verb in priority tense, past tense, it's very likely that you will need an accent mark. Okay? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Okay? So I'm talking about this accent mark, the tilde, la tilde, or el acento. So that's the name of this little line over here. So don't forget that. I was going to say don't remember that. You have to remember that. ¿Qué pasó? Que also needs an accent mark when you have the word in a question or exclamation phrase or whatever. If you see any question marks or exclamation marks, then you need to add the accent mark right here. If you use que, right? ¿Qué pasó ayer? So this word means what. Pasó, present tense, past tense. It already happened. So happened. Ayer. Oops, sorry. Ayer. Ayer means yesterday. Ayer. Remember that sometimes in Spanish, this, it's like, hang on, that was a terrible arrow. If you have the letter Y in Spanish, the sound sometimes changes. Sometimes it sounds like the Y in English, like as in yellow, okay? Or sometimes it sounds like J, as in jello, okay? Two different words in English, but in Spanish, the sound of the letter Y sometimes has two different sounds. And that's because, there's so many Spanish-speaking countries, so a lot of people have different sounds in regions and whatnot. So ayer can sound like this, ayer, or ayer, okay? So don't get confused by that. It's okay. The Y sound in Spanish can be a little flexible. Okay, so ayer or ayer. ¿Qué pasó ayer? What happened yesterday? So we see two different meanings here of the verb pasar. One is to pass, like here, right? Pass me, pásame. So this is something that you can learn. Just this little thing here, pásame, okay? And that is a command that means pass me. ¿Qué pasó ayer? Here, pasar means happened, okay? Happened. ¿Qué pasó ayer? What happened yesterday? And another common question that you can hear in Spanish, sometimes to say hello, okay? It's a different way to say hello, is ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? And that's just a quick little expression, a really little expression that means what's up, okay? What's up? It's similar to saying what's up, ¿qué pasa? Or you're just saying hello, you know, what's going on? What's cracking? What's new? Okay, so that is the meaning of this little phrase. It can also be literal. It can mean, you know, what is happening, ¿qué pasa? What is happening? Or just as a greeting, you know, what's up? What's happening? Okay. Excellent. That is the meaning, the most basic meanings of pasar. Now let's talk about pasar with other words. You know, as I said before, just like in every lesson, in every stream, I teach you different phrases that use, you know, verbs, and they're similar to phrasal verbs in English, but the meaning can change. You know, pasar can mean to pass, to happen, but when using other words, they change. The meaning can change. Do you have any questions, guys? Any questions at all? Just let me know. Just let me know. Man, I needed my coffee this morning. Absolutely. I absolutely needed my coffee. Oh, man. Okay. Now, the next, I always do this. I always do this. Anyway, let's learn the next meaning, or a very interesting phrase that needs the verb pasar. Pasar tiempo. So this is a long-ish expression, but don't you worry because it's not that difficult to use. Okay. Pasar tiempo con alguien. Pasar tiempo con alguien. What does this mean? Do you have any idea? It's not that difficult to understand this phrase. You know already that pasar means to pass, to happen, right? But I mean, it's not in this situation. This doesn't mean that. Tiempo means time, okay? El tiempo, time. Con, you need this. With, it means with, you know, with you, contigo. Well, that's actually a different word in Spanish. It's contigo is one word, but when you use con means with, okay? With. Alguien means somebody, someone, okay? But this word here, you don't need it for this phrase, but it's important to remember that alguien can change, you know? You need to add something else when using this phrase, pasar tiempo con, and you need someone. You need someone. That's what this means. You need someone. You don't need alguien. Literally, you need a person. It could be your family, your partner, friends, and so on. Okay? So this changes. Alguien changes. What's the meaning of this? This means, let me tell you what it means. This means to spend time with someone. Okay? So it's very interesting that you need pasar for this phrase, but in this case it means to spend, okay? To spend. Before, I mean, we learned that pasar means to pass or to happen, and now it's something completely different. So let's look at some examples using this phrase. Me gustaría pasar tiempo contigo. Me gustaría pasar tiempo contigo. Contigo. Do you remember I said this word a few seconds ago? Contigo means with you, right? So this phrase is quite romantic if you say this to your partner, to someone who you are dating and whatnot. So if you want, you can use this phrase. If you want to say, I would like to spend time with you. Okay? Just to get to know the person, just because you enjoy their company, for many reasons, of course. Okay. Me gustaría means I would like. Me gustaría. Just this little phrase here, you can use it for so many things in many situations. You can be talking about doing something. Me gustaría irme de vacaciones. I would like to go on vacation. Me gustaría comer pizza. I would like to eat pizza. Okay, so this is a must-learn phrase. You really need to know this phrase because it's commonly used in Spanish. Me gustaría. I would like. And then we have the phrase pasar tiempo. In this situation, con is right here. And then if you say with you, then it becomes one word and it means contigo. I mean, you need contigo. Contigo, with you. You would not say con tú because tú means you in Spanish. No, it's not like that. There is a specific word when you want to say contigo, I mean with you in Spanish, and that is contigo. Contigo, with you. Okay? So yeah, pasar tiempo, to spend time. Contigo, with you. Now, when you use the phrase me gustaría, and then right after you use a verb, you need the verb in the infinitive way, which means, or infinitive form, which means you don't conjugate the verb, you just leave it as is. So you have pasar here, you just leave it like that, pasar. That's if you're using me gustaría, okay? Me gustaría. And that applies to any other verb. For example, me gustaría comer pizza, as I said before. Me gustaría comer pizza. I would like to eat pizza, okay? And the verb is right here. And you have the phrase here. So you see, you need the infinitive form of the verb if you want to use this phrase in the verb, okay? So that's good. That's good. Tricks. Little tricks. Hang on. Let me take it back to what it was. There you go. There you go. Okay. Let's look at the next example. The next example is voy a pasar tiempo con mi familia este fin de semana. Voy a pasar tiempo con mi familia este fin de semana. If you want to hear this in a normal speed, then it will be something like voy a pasar tiempo con mi familia este fin de semana. Okay, so it gets fast. I know, but it's all good. You can do it. I believe in you. Voy a pasar tiempo con mi familia este fin de semana. So what does this mean? we know what pasar tiempo means. You probably know the meaning of the word familia and also fin de semana. I don't know if you know that, the meaning of that little phrase there, but let's look at the meaning. I'm going to spend time with my family this weekend. You probably knew the meaning of the whole sentence. So let's break this down so we understand how it works. Boy, just like you say boy in English, you know, oh, that little boy. Same sound. Boy. Remember that the V sound in Spanish is very similar to the B as in bell sound. So boy. If you say voy, it's okay. People will understand you. But if you want to nail the sound, then you just pronounce it as B as in bell sound. Okay? Boy. Boy a is a very common phrase that means I'm going to. Okay? Voy a correr. I'm going to run. Voy a pasear. I'm going to, like go around and spend time doing something fun. Pasear is another. It sounds like pasar, but that's a different verb. Pasear means to go for a walk, to go for a drive, to go for just out and spend time out. We can talk about that verb in a different lesson, but so if you say voy a pasear, I'm going for a walk or for a drive or just out. Voy a caminar, I'm going to walk. Voy a comer, I'm going to eat. Okay, so just remember that. And same thing, if you use the phrase voy a and then a verb, you need the verb in the infinitive form. So that means don't conjugate the verb. So that's always something good, because conjugating verbs in Spanish can be a nightmare sometimes, but it's all good. If you use voy a, then a verb, you don't need to conjugate the verb. Voy a pasar. I'm going to spend, okay? Tiempo, well, we know what tiempo means. Tiempo means time. Con, we have con, just like we have here. With, that's the meaning of con. Mi, my. Remember, me without the accent mark means my. Me with the accent mark, or la tilde, means me as in me, okay? Me. So it's there's a small difference there. Important though, it's important. Familia means family, okay? La familia, the family. Este means this, okay? This. If you put an accent mark on top of the letter E, that is the verb estar, okay, but conjugated. So without the accent mark, it means this. Fin de semana, very important expression, useful when talking about time. Fin de semana means weekend. El fin de semana, the weekend. Fin de semana, weekend. Okay? So it's pretty much a literal translation of weekend. The end of the week. Semana means week. Fin means end. Okay? And when you have the phrase fin de semana, weekend. Excellent. So now you know that pasar tiempo con alguien changes, right? That changes. The whole phrase means to spend time with someone. Okay? Sometimes you have to conjugate the verb. Sometimes you don't. It depends on the situation. Here we didn't have to conjugate pasar. We have pasar here and pasar here. But you can say something like pasé tiempo con mi novio, for example, right? So we conjugated the verb here. That means I spent, oops, I missed the P. I spent time with my boyfriend. Okay? So just remember that. Any questions? Do you guys have any questions? Oh yeah, by the way, novio means boyfriend. Novia means girlfriend. Girlfriend, okay? So novio, novia. That's an important word, definitely. Okay, no questions? That's good. But if you have any questions, please don't be shy. Just ask the question. Okay, now meaning number 3. Meaning number 3. Let's see what we have. Pasar por alguien. Again, alguien can be replaceable. Okay? Pasar por. This is the important part. Pasar por. Pasar por. So it's pretty interesting, I would say, because pasar, to pass, to happen. Por means for. Pass for, happen for. I don't know. I don't think the common meanings apply here either. Alguien, somebody. Somebody, someone. So this can change. You can say your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, husband, your family, my friend, someone, anybody. You just need someone there, okay? Pasar por. Let's look at the meaning. Pasar por alguien means to pick someone up, okay? So you're driving somewhere and you have to pick someone up, I'll be there at 5 to pick you up. So that's what I'm talking about. Not literally pick picking someone up, like you or just going to the person's house to take that person to another destination. Okay? So for example, ¿puedes pasar por mí a las 5? ¿Puedes pasar por mí a las 5? Remember, me, when it has an accent mark, it means me, not my, okay? Just remember that. I just mentioned that a few minutes ago. Without the accent mark, it means my. Mi libro, my book. Por mí, by me. Okay, so it's a different thing. Por can mean by or for. By as in by, okay? But in this situation, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. Por is just part of the whole phrase here. And the meaning of this question is, can you pick me up at 5 p.m.? Okay. ¿Puedes pasar por mí a las 5 p.m.? 5 p.m. means, p.m. So you can say that, or you can say 5 de la tarde, 5 in the afternoon. Okay. Let me just show you here. Oops. Let's do that. I think it looks better like that. Let me fix that as well. Oops. Let me add here 5 in the afternoon. Okay, so that's what it means. It's a literal translation of 5 de la tarde, 5 in the afternoon. Okay, there you go. That's better. That is better. Okay. Puedes pasar por mí. Okay, puedes is a great question, beginning of a question. And that means can you. Okay, puedes, can you, and then you add the rest. So it can be puedes ayudarme, can you help me? Puedes caminar lento, can you walk slowly? Puedes hablar lento, can you speak slowly? So puedes is informal, you know, it's an informal way to say can you. If you want it formal, then you can just remove the letter S, and that's formal. Puede is the formal way of can you. Okay, puedes. Pasar, again we have the meaning of, the verb pasar, and then we have pasar por. That's the whole phrase here. Pasar por, not the whole phrase, because we're missing me, right? So we replaced alguien with me. Okay, pasar por mí means pick me up. Okay, a las means at. Okay, important when talking about time. A las 5 at 5. A la 1 at 1. Okay, so this can change. A la 1 when talking about 1, talking about time at 1. So you mean a la 1. And well, this changes to 1, right? But if you're talking about, 2, 3, 4, all the other numbers, then you need las. A las 5. At 5. At 5. De la tarde. Oops. De la tarde means in the afternoon. Okay, so this is a common way to say 5 p.m. in Spanish. De la tarde, p.m., in the afternoon. If you want to say in the morning, very early, 5 a.m., you can say 5 a.m., so the literal translation, or you can say de la madrugada. Well, that would be madrugada because it's very early in the morning. Okay. Oops, what happened here? There you go. Okay. 5 de la madrugada. 5 de la madrugada means 5 a.m. Okay, or 5, the literal translation, in the morning. 5 in the morning. Why am I saying madrugada instead of mañana? Mañana means morning, okay, and tomorrow in Spanish. When you're talking about 1 a.m., from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m., so that is, you will use madrugada, de la madrugada. A las 5 de la madrugada, a las 6 de la madrugada, a la 1 de la madrugada. Okay, so this changes to la because it's 1, right? A las 2 de la madrugada, 2 a.m. So you need madrugada in those situations. But if you're saying, 7 a.m., from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., you would say de la mañana, okay? So, a las 11 de la mañana, because that's morning, okay? I know madrugada refers to very early in the day, okay? And then mañana refers to the morning itself. So that's very important and very interesting to know, definitely. So I was saying las 5 de la tarde. Tarde is, from noon to 6. 1 de la tarde, 2 de la tarde, 3 de la tarde, 4 de la tarde, 5 de la tarde, okay? 6 de la tarde. When it's 7 p.m. is night. 7 de la noche, okay? De la noche means 7 at night. Technically, you're saying in the night, 7 in the night or at night. It's a common thing to say in Spanish as well, but technically you're just saying 7 p.m. Okay, from 7 to 11. 7 de la noche, 8 de la noche, 9 de la noche, 10 de la noche, 11 de la noche. And then 12 a.m. is 12 de la madrugada. Again. Okay, madrugada. So it's quite peculiar. But also you can say PM, 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 a las 7 PM. Okay, so if you don't want to get all confused by madrugada, mañana, and noche, you can just say PM, AM. Okay, PM, AM, PM, AM. Anyway, so let me just change this back to 5 p.m. 5 p.m. There you go. That's easier, right? That's way easier. But it's good to know, right? It's good to know both ways. Now, pasar por mí in this situation, pick me up. That's the meaning of pasar por mí. Now, let's look at another example. Paso por ti y nos vamos al restaurante juntos. Hang on. This is way too low. Okay. Paso por ti y nos vamos al restaurante juntos. What are we talking about here? Do you know? Do you guys know? It's not that difficult, really. It looks difficult, but it's not. You know, pasar por, you know what that means? Ti means you in this situation. Pasar por ti, pasar por mí, pasar por somebody. Okay? So just remember that. This can change after por. So this whole sentence means I'll pick you up and we'll go to the restaurant together. This is great if you're planning something out, if you want to go out with someone. This is a very important phrase to remember, pasar por, because that way you can let know the other person whatever you want to do. In the first example, we're asking if someone can pick me up. In this situation, in the second example, we are talking about, I'll pick you up. I will pick you up. Okay? Let's break this down. Paso, paso, paso. This is in present tense. I know it might be confusing, but because we have I'll, right? I will pick. It works differently in Spanish. You need, when you're saying, I will do this, sometimes you can literally translate, whatever you want to say. But when talking about picking someone up, you can say pasaré, which will be the literal translation. Pasaré. But it's more common to say paso. When you're saying, someone, I'll pick you up, paso por ti. Paso por ti. So that is just a nice way to say I'll pick you up, don't you worry, I'll pick you up. Paso por ti. No hay problema. So just remember that paso, you need present tense here. Yo paso. Right? You're technically saying yo paso. We don't need yo. Remember that. I always say this during my streams. You don't need to say some pronouns all the time. The specifically yo, tú, él, nosotros, ustedes, vosotros, ellos, and ellas. You don't need to say those all the time. So we don't need it. We don't need the pronoun here. That's a common thing in Spanish. Paso por, we have it here, right? Paso por, I'll pick up, and then we say alguien. Who is that person? In this situation, ti means you, okay? And nos vamos. Nos vamos, we will go. Again, this is not future tense. This is more like present. Okay, it's more like present tense, but don't worry about that because it's just in Spanish it works differently. Okay, you don't need future tense here. You need present tense. So you're in your mind doing everything in present tense, but you're telling the person, right? Also in present tense in this situation. In this particular situation, y nos vamos, and we'll go to, when you say al, when you use the verb ir, this comes from the verb ir, which means to go. Ir is a very irregular verb, just so you know. That's why vamos doesn't sound like ir at all, but ir is a very irregular verb. We should talk about this verb in the future, of course. Nos vamos means we'll go. Ir a, usually that phrase is very commonly used to say to go to somewhere, okay? Right now we have al, because when you have a masculine noun and you usually use a definite article, el, in this situation, a él, you don't have the two words. Okay? That's a no-no in Spanish. This becomes al. Okay? So that's why we have al. Go to. One sec. Restaurante. Restaurante means restaurant. Al, in the situation, go to the restaurante, restaurant. Juntos. Juntos. Juntos means together. It's not juntos. Okay. The J sound in Spanish is J, like jamón, jalea, Julio. Okay, so it's a different sound. And juntos, that's another great word that means together. Juntos, juntos. Juntos can be feminine as well. So you can say juntas if it's a group of women or female people, females. Or if it's a mixed group, then you go with the masculine form, juntos. Okay, if you have females and males, juntos. If you have a group of men or males, juntos. If you have a group of females, juntas. Okay? Very interesting. Very interesting. Oops. Excellent. Any questions? Remember, pasar por alguien means to pick someone up. In English, you have, someone in the middle. In Spanish, you have pasar por, and then you add the subject. Okay? You can change, of course, you can change alguien to pronouns, or you can actually place a name, a first name. For example, here, puedes pasar por Miguel. Okay, so we're saying, can you pick Miguel up at 5 p.m.? Okay, so, oops. So that works too. That works too. You can add, I don't know, you can say anything like mama, for example. You can even have mi mamá. Okay, a las 5 p.m. Puedes pasar por mi mamá a las 5 p.m. Can you pick my mom up at 5 p.m.? Okay, so this is very, it can change. Of course, it depends on what you want to say. Excellent. Any questions? Saint Cyr. Hola desde Estados Unidos. Espero mejorar mi español. That's awesome. Welcome. Welcome, Saint. That's great. Well, your Spanish looks pretty good. Yo leo 13. ¿Es el verbo pasar en este contexto específico a un país? No. No. All of the phrases we're learning and most of the Spanish I teach on this channel is pretty much understood everywhere. If it's from a specific country, I would tell you that. I will tell you that. Of course, there's like some things that, some phrases, expressions that are used more in certain countries than others, but I try to teach Spanish that is going to be understood everywhere. Okay. Great question though. Yo leo 13. Thank you. Chris Keenan. ¿Por qué nos vamos en vez de solo vamos? You can say either. Nos is a pronoun that is commonly said in Spanish, and it means us. Okay? Us. So, nos vamos is commonly said, and it means we'll go. Okay? But you can also say, paso por ti y vamos al restaurante juntos. So you can also say that. It makes sense. If you think that this is something easier for you to learn and say, you can just say it like that. But nos, it's like people say that in Spanish as well. They can say vamos or nos vamos, and that means we'll go. Okay, so remember, in different languages, even in English, there's different ways to say the same thing. So it's the same in Spanish. But great question. Nos, remember, it's a pronoun and it means us. Okay, great question. You're welcome. Yo leo 13. You're welcome. That's awesome. Thank you for asking your questions. And welcome. Welcome, everyone. Now, let's learn the next meaning of pasar. Let's learn this other meaning. I mean, it's quite interesting how verbs, they change their meaning in certain situations and they work differently with other words. It's very, very fun to see, to understand that. Same in English. I mean, I love how English has phrasal verbs and how one verb can be used in different ways. It's just very interesting. Okay, now the next meaning. Let's see. What do we have here? Pasar por alto. Pasar por alto. This is another interesting phrase. It's commonly said in Spanish, but there's other ways to say the same thing. So this one is one way of saying this. To overlook. Okay? When you're like pretending not to look at some situation, at some mistake, at some problems. Okay? So this is what I mean by this. To overlook. You're just pretending not to see what's happening because you don't want to, because you're just don't want any trouble, or because you don't care. So yeah. Now let's look at some examples. This is very interesting too. Alto means tall or high. But when saying pasar por alto, it's the meaning changes completely. Pasar por, do you remember we learned like a minute ago, pasar por alguien? In this situation, we changed alguien with alto, and the meaning changed completely. So let's look at some examples. No puedo pasar por alto este error. No puedo pasar por alto este error. Okay, error. You need the R sound right there twice. Error. I love it. I love it. No puedo pasar por alto este error. So this means I cannot overlook this mistake. This is a more advanced Spanish. You're just expressing that you cannot not care pretty much about a mistake. And it's quite interesting. It happens, definitely. No puedo. It's a great phrase that means I can't or I cannot. Okay, no puedo. And if you want to add a verb to that phrase, then you need the infinitive form. So once again, that means you don't have to conjugate the verb. You just leave it as it is. So no puedo pasar por alto. That means overlook. This. Error. Error means mistake. It's a fun word to pronounce, definitely. Error, el error, the mistake. No puedo pasar por alto este error. I cannot overlook this mistake. Now, there's different ways at the end of this, when I finish talking about pasar por alto, I'll tell you other terms that mean the same as overlook. And the reason why is because there's so many ways to say this. I'll talk briefly about one or two, but this is a common one. This is a very common one. Pasar por alto. Now let's look at the next example. The next example is: voy a pasar esto por alto solo esta ocasión. Voy a pasar esto por alto solo esta ocasión. Now we have esto in the middle of the phrase that we're learning, and that's also doable. You can do that, no problem. You can have pasar and then add something in the middle and then por alto. Okay, so technically here you can say no puedo pasar este error. So you place this whole thing in the middle between pasar and por alto. No puedo pasar este error por alto. Okay, so that's also doable. It's possible. Oops, sorry. Now, let's break this down. Oh, sorry, I need to let you know the meaning of this phrase. This means I'm going to overlook this just this one time. Okay? So this is the opposite of the previous example. This time you're going to overlook, like, you know what? It's okay. Don't worry about it. I didn't even see anything. Wink, wink, you know? Okay, let's break this down. Voy a, once again, voy a very common way to say I'm going to, okay? Remember, the V sound here is similar to B as in bell, boy. Just like, oh, look at the little boy. Same thing, boy. Voy a, I'm going to. Pasar, overlook. Well, it's pasar por alto, overlook. Esto means also this, okay? But esto is more vague. In this situation, here we're talking about a mistake, okay? Here we could be talking about a mistake, a problem, any kind of situation. Is like in general saying this, you know? You're not being specific. Esto, this. Por alto, well, you know that. Pasar por alto. Esto means this. Solo. Solo means just. Sometimes solo, just like Han Solo. Solo means alone or only. Sometimes it means just, okay? This one time means, or it's similar to, esta ocasión is similar to this one time, okay? So that phrase, esta ocasión, this one time. Ocasión means occasion, okay? But when you say esta ocasión or solo esta ocasión, that means just this one time, okay? So just remember the phrase solo esta ocasión. Or sometimes you can say also por esta ocasión. Same thing, just this one time. Also solo esta ocasión, just this one time, okay? So that's quite interesting, definitely. Now, pasar por alto is one way to say to overlook. And I know that overlook can have different meanings, right? But if you want to say something similar to overlook something, like a mistake, a problem, a situation, and all of that, then you can say pasar por alto, or you can say dejar pasar. Dejar pasar. So similar, we're using pasar here. So same thing to overlook. So here can be no puedo dejar pasar este error. And that works. Same meaning. I cannot overlook this mistake. Okay? Dejar pasar. There is one phrase that is similar to that. But this is more like regional, you know. I've heard this in Mexico a lot. Hacer la vista gorda. I don't know why. Because the meaning, the literal translation is quite funny. We're talking about to make fat a sight. It doesn't make sense because gorda means fat or overweight. It's feminine. It's a feminine form. So I don't know why, but this is a common thing to say as well. For example, here, no puedo. In this situation, it changes a bit. No voy a hacer la vista gorda. Este error, and you need en este error. So that is, hang on, let me just fix that really quickly. That's one way to say what we just learned. I cannot overlook this mistake. No voy a hacer la vista gorda en este error. Or de este error. I think that's better. Sorry. No voy a hacer la vista gorda de este error. I cannot overlook this mistake. But voy a hacer is a very common thing to say with this phrase. Voy a hacer. Voy a, you need voy a, and then the rest of the phrase. So this is a completely different way to say to overlook. But for now, let's just remember the one we just learned. Dejar pasar is a common way to say that in Spanish, to overlook, or pasar por alto. Okay, pasar por alto, dejar pasar, same thing to overlook. And specifically when you're just not paying attention to some situation because you don't want to, because you're doing a favor, because you just want to move on or whatnot. Anyways, perfect. Do you have any questions, guys? Any questions? This is a more advanced Spanish situation here, but it's quite interesting. Excellent. The last one, guys, the last meaning. Let's see what we have. Pasarla bien. Oh, this is a very common one. Pasarla bien or pasarla mal. Now we're talking about something a bit easier here. This is easy. Pasarla. We are not using pasar only. We're adding la because we're talking about time again, and we're referring to a situation where it's good for you or bad for you. You're feeling happy or not too happy, or you don't feel too well or too good about a situation. Okay, so pasarla. You, by the way, guys, you can leave your questions, share your questions, and if I move on to the next meeting, I will go back and read your questions. So don't worry. You can just keep asking. Pasarla bien or pasarla mal. What are we talking about here? We are talking about to have a good time or to have a bad time. So either way, you can have a good time or the opposite. Pasarla bien means to have a good time, or you're having a good time. Pasarla bien. Bien, not bueno, because bueno also means good. We're talking about bien. Bien and bueno mean the same thing, but they're used in different situations, okay? When talking about spending or having a good time, you need bien, okay? Pasarla bien, to have a good time. Pasarla mal, not malo, but mal, okay? That means to have a bad time, okay? So you have options here. You have options. Let's look at some examples. Me la pasé muy bien este fin de semana. Me la pasé muy bien este fin de semana. So this means I had a great time this weekend. I know I said to have a good or bad time, but if you add certain words, you can say great time, okay? And the word I'm talking about to change this to great is muy. Muy. Okay? Muy. Muy, when you say muy bien, great. Okay? Or very well, very good. Okay? Me la pasé. We have la here. Okay? So this la can separate and be independent. So if you want to do that, just place it before pasar, okay? So la pasé. If you say me means me, okay? Me la pasé, that's a common way to say I had, okay? I had. Could be, technically there isn't a here in Spanish, but when you say me la pasé, technically you're saying I had a ... and then you add good time, bad time. Which one is it, right? So in this situation we have muy bien, great, more than good, great. You don't have time here, right? You don't have time, but technically when you say me la pasé muy bien, I had a great time. That's what you're saying. We don't need time in this phrase because we're already saying la, okay? La is a vague way to say time in this situation. Specifically in this situation, la can be a definite article. The, la casa, the book, can also be a pronoun. It can mean her or it, okay? So in this situation, la is referring to it, okay? Me la pasé muy bien. I had a great time. And then you can add more. Why not? This, fin de semana, weekend, okay? Este fin de semana, this weekend. You can also say, me la pasé muy bien, just by itself. And that means I had a great time. Me la pasé muy bien. You can also remove me. You can say it. It's commonly said in Spanish. You can remove me and say, la pasé muy bien. La pasé muy bien. And that means I had a great time. Okay? So that's quite good to know. Definitely. Excellent. Now let's look at the last example, guys. This is going to be the last example. And that's going to be it. So if you have any questions, please just let me know. Let me know. Now, the next example is, no quiero pasarla mal. No peleemos. No peleemos. This is a very tricky word to pronounce, but it's not that difficult. It's like when you say leer. Leer means to read in Spanish. So similar pronunciation, peleemos, peleemos. Leer, leemos, peleemos. Okay? So, sorry, remember that some people say peleemos, peleemos in Spanish. Some people say it like that, but the correct pronunciation is peleemos. Okay? Just because of the double E sound. Just remember that. Similar to saying leer, to read in Spanish. Excellent. No quiero. Oh, let me just show you the meaning. I don't want to have a bad time. Let's not fight. Could happen. Could happen. Definitely. No quiero. No quiero is a great phrase as well. That means I don't want to. Or I don't want. I don't wanna. No quiero. You can use it by itself to just say I don't want to, right? So that can be just an expression by itself, or you can use it to say more, no quiero, and then you have pasarla mal, have a bad time. Okay, we have the whole phrase, pasarla mal. Pasarla mal, same thing. And here we have la attached to the verb. Here we had it before the verb. Okay? And when you say no quiero, you need to say pasarla. Okay? Because if you say la pasar mal, doesn't make sense. Here it works because you have a pronoun, and we can use it at the beginning of a sentence pretty much by itself. As I said before, you don't need me. La pasé muy bien. La pasé muy mal. La pasé mal. La pasé bien. So if you say this first, if you start your sentence with this phrase, pasarla bien, pasarla mal, you can have la at the beginning. You can separate la from pasar. Okay? La pasé muy bien, la pasé muy mal, la pasé mal, la pasé bien. So that's correct. But here, because we're saying no quiero, oh, my arrow is so bad, sorry. No quiero, then you need pasarla. Okay? Pasarla mal. I don't want to have a bad time. No quiero pasarla mal. I don't want to have a bad time. No, similar to saying not. Peleemos, similar to saying let's fight. Okay? So we don't have, in Spanish, we don't have don't or not. We have no. No, and also no means no. So that's quite interesting. Definitely, how we like the two languages work. We have nunca, and we need no as well when using nunca. Nunca means never. So it's quite interesting for sure. No peleemos. Let's not fight. No quiero pasarla mal. No peleemos. I don't want to have a bad time. Let's not fight. And that's it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Remember that pasar can mean different things. We learned 5 different meanings. And I think it was very, very good to learn all of them, because all of the terms that we learned, all of them are commonly used in Spanish. Very, very popular stuff for sure. And before I forget, you can actually change bien and mal to different words, as I did here. Muy bien, that's great. But you can say other adjectives. Okay? For example, you can say la pasé maravilloso. Maravilloso. Do you know what maravilloso means? Do you know? It's a very good adjective. Remember, adjectives help describe nouns, situations, and whatnot. So remember that. Maravilloso means wonderful. So technically you're saying I had a wonderful time. Wonderful time this weekend. Okay? Or you can say also, if it's something negative, you can say me la pasé terrible. Oops. Terrible. Este fin de semana. I had a terrible time this weekend. So you can play around with different adjectives when talking about, time. Are you having a good time, bad time, terrible time, wonderful time, great time? So you can actually change bien and mal to different adjectives. So yeah. That's very flexible. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's see. Do you have any questions? Any questions at all? Would gordo indicate huge or big? Yes. Gordo can mean a lot of things. It can mean fat, overweight, heavy, thick as well, big in general, something big. Sometimes it means, when talking about situations, it can mean serious, but that's a more regional, like more like a slang. But yeah, gordo refers to a fat person. Gorda is a feminine. I mean, just be careful when using this adjective, because you can offend people. So just be careful with that. Sometimes you can say gordo or gorda as a pet name for your partner. I never understood that, but it happens. Some people call their partner gordo, gorda, but it's not like offensive. It's something like a pet name, like a term of endearment. Something, nicknames and whatnot. If it's a nickname, that can be more offensive, definitely. So yeah, we can talk about that term in the future for sure. as in big mistake. Oh, okay. It can, as I said before, but not everywhere. Not everywhere. It's more, that term is more, it's used more to talk about physical appearance. You can be talking about something thick, as in, like a book, thick book, but it's not commonly said in Spanish for those kinds of situations like mistakes. But in some parts of in certain regions in the Spanish world, you can hear it when people refer to a mistake or a problem, but that's more regional. Definitely. Thank you for asking, Tuto. If you want to say, big mistake, I would use more like grande. Grande as in big. Let me show you here. Because that's two different things, definitely. For example, here, grande refers to big, but as in big, it could be literal, somebody big. So it could be things like a house, una casa grande, a big house, or un problema grande, a big problem, grande. Sometimes people say gran problema. Gran is used before the noun. Grande is used after the noun. Okay, so I think instead of saying gordo, gorda, use grande. Grande is more flexible. You can be talking about people, you could be talking about objects, you could be talking about situations. So this is better. This is definitely better. Okay. Oh, you can say el gran problema. Let me fix that. El gran problema, and that means a big problem, or the big problem, rather. Problem. Or you can say el problema grande. Big problem, the big problem. Oops, you cannot see the text. One sec. Okay. El problema grande. El problema grande, the big problem. El gran problema, same thing, the big problem. You can say tengo un problema grande. Or tengo un gran problema. I have a big problem. Sorry. I have a big problem. Okay? So grande is the word. It's a more commonly word used to say big when talking about mistakes in situations, problems and whatnot. That's it. That is it. If you're saying mistake, tengo un cometí un gran error. Cometí un gran error, or un error grande, either one. So un gran error or un error grande. That means I made a big mistake. Okay. Cometer, because I know hacer means to make, to do, but when talking about mistakes, you can use the verb cometer. And cometer means to make, so to commit, okay? So it's commonly said when saying mistakes, okay? Or mostly mistakes, definitely. It's a very common way to use. Like if you want to say mistakes, then cometer is a great verb to use it with it. And that means to make a mistake. For example, cometer un error, to make a mistake. Okay, so it's like a phrase, cometer un error. That means to make a mistake. Okay, so just remember that. Great question. Great question. It wasn't about hacer, pasar, sorry, but it was a great question in general. Okay, let me just get back to what it was. Yeah. Excellent. I don't see any more questions. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Man, 1 hour and 30 minutes. That was a long lesson. This was a long lesson, but it was very entertaining. Very good. We learned 5 different meanings of the verb pasar. Sorry about that. And yeah, I hope you liked this lesson. If you did, please give it a like. That helps me a lot. And also don't forget to subscribe and also activate that freaking bell notification thing that YouTube has next to the subscribe button, and activate all the notifications so you get some alert from YouTube saying, hey, Spanish Made Easy or Sugar Astronaut is live. So you don't miss out my streams for sure. I don't have a specific day and time when I stream, but that's why I'm saying you need to turn on the notifications. Anyway, I hope you like this lesson. As I said before, if you want to chat with other people in Spanish or English, and obviously, learn more about Spanish, I have a Spanish community on Discord. So if you're interested in joining that community, please just find the link in the video description down below. Please read the rules before joining the club. I was gonna say joining the Discord server. So yeah, you need to read the rules, because it's a free server, but you need to follow the rules, definitely. Also, well, yeah, that's it. There's no also. That's it. Have a lovely Sunday. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Gracias. Hasta luego. Hasta la próxima. Bye.